Ladies and gentlemen, Heavy Metal October here at Record Collectors Paradise is finally winding up. We're in the home stretch leading up to Helloween. And if you've been watching the last few weeks, if you've been in the store the past few weeks, every Saturday, you know we've been unrolling some pretty amazing heavy metal from a pretty amazing vintage 80s metal collection. A lot of original German presses, European presses, some pretty wild stuff. And this final week is no different. We got a lot of stuff to show you today, including some surprises from outside of the collection. So let's just jump right into it, shall we? Speaking of Germany, one of the biggest heavy metal bands to ever come out of Germany, the one and only Warlock. These guys formed in Dusseldorf back in 1982, fronted by the amazing Doro Pesch. This woman is to this day a true force to be reckoned with on the microphone. She sings clean, she sings aggressive, but she's always got a big, impressive professional voice. Just one of the best vocalists you'll ever hear. Warlock has always been known for their big, dark, in-your-face sound, blending heavy metal and thrash. As years went on, they morphed into a bit of a leaner, almost like alt metal, hard rock sound, but still very much at the end of the day heavy metal. And we're going to show you a complete run of their 80s LPs, which is technically a complete run of their LPs altogether because Warlock really only existed in the 80s. So right off the bat, Burning the Witches, their first album from 1984. This is an original German pressing on Mausoleum Records, which was an independent Belgian metal label. This would be reissued later that same year on Vertigo after Warlock kind of took off that same year. But this is original Mausoleum. So get your hands on that for sure. We're going to go to 1985 next with probably the most unique piece out of this whole collection. You Hurt My Soul. 3-track non-album single. So these tracks did not exist on Burning the Witches or the next album. Comes in this oversized cogwheel design. You literally have to turn it to get to the record. And what does the record look like? This deluxe version, is actually a picture disc. And it's got tour dates on the back. You can't get any better than this. There are regular 12-inch versions of this, but as jumbo size as this display piece is, how can you not want it? For sure. So speaking of the next album, Hellbound, 1985. And we're going to go to Fight for Rock, 1986 EP. This contains cuts from their next album, which we'll see in a second, as well as the three songs that you will hear on the You Hurt My Soul single. And speaking of True as Steel, this one I can personally attest to as being great old school heavy metal. 1986, this is some of their best overall songwriting, and it marks their presence outside of Europe. This is when these guys became a worldwide known force. Great album. Highly recommended. We're going to go to, it was actually their final album, at least as Warlock, Triumph and Agony, 1987. There started to be some lineup changes at this point, and in fact, with this album, this was recorded in America and featured 2 new band members who were also American, including a few guest drummers, including British hard rock legendary drummer Cozy Powell. If you don't know that name, look it up. You'll know what I mean. That's quite the guest to have on a metal album. And this is also a limited edition gatefold version. How do we know it's limited edition? It says so. Come on. But we're not quite done with Warlock. That's their last LP. But here we have a rare 12-inch single, All We Are. This is actually the first 3 tracks from Triumph and Agony. Second last, at least in terms of Warlock, we have something called The Last Witch. This is a bootleg. This is most likely a vinyl pressing of a home video release they'd put out back in '85, recorded at Camden Palace in London, UK. That's most likely what this is. Otherwise, it sounds good. And then finally, if you know anything about what happened to Warlock, after some legal disputes, Doro Pesh, lead singer, decided she didn't want to stop doing pretty well exactly what she was doing, and decided to just strike out on her own as Doro. And starting with this album, this included the last official Warlock lineup, or at least a few of the members, as her backing band. And she's still going today. She is still rocking it. She is still awesome. But that being said, as you can tell, we've got a lot of amazing original Warlocks that, if you like their 80s stuff, I can't recommend it enough. Okay, let's switch it up a bit. We've been showing you vinyl all month. Let's do something a little different. Cassettes, baby. We just got these in. These are not from the same German collection. They're not German. They're just all gonna be American or Canadian for the most part. But regardless, Black Sabbath, Paranoid, Ozzy, Blizzard of Oz, Ozzy remastered, Just Say No, Ozzy and Randy Rhoads tribute, Ozzy No Rest for the Wicked, Ozzy Osmosis, Judas Priest, Point of Entry, Defenders of the Faith, Turbo, Ram It Down, British Steel, Sad Wings of Destiny. If you want to know some more about Judas Priest, check out our previous video where we spotlighted a whole bunch of their stuff on vinyl. Are we done with cassettes? No. Let's do some more here. Satriani, Flying in a Blue Dream. Bang Tango, Psycho Cafe. Deadbeat Honeymooners. Johnny Crash, Neighborhood Threat. Canadian legend Lee Aaron, Body Rock. Rat, Dancing Undercover. More Rat, Invasion of Your Privacy. And a lesser known Rat, Detonator. Are we done with cassettes? No, let's do some more. Great White, Twice Shy. Faster Pussycat, Wake Me When It's Over. Whitesnake, Slide It In. Svengali, self-titled. Extreme 2, Pornography. Saigon Kick, self-titled. Living Color, Vivid, amazing album. Kings of the Sun, Full Frontal Attack. Save that for a second. Extreme, self-titled. Okay, we are a Canadian store, and if you're a Canadian collector and you like metal, you have to have this. Much Music's Power Hour, their original heavy metal show. Great, solid compilation. Okay, I think that about does it for cassettes. Psych, not even close. Megadeth, Peace Sells, but Who's Buying? A little different, but Alice in Chains, Dirt. Good luck finding it on the cassette, even if it's from the 90s. Testament, Practice What You Preach. Motley Crue, Shout of the Devil. Just in time for Halloween. How rare is this? Return of the Living Dead Part 2 soundtrack. Speaking of which, Shocker soundtrack. Guilt Parade, Copperphobia. Guns N' Roses, Appetite for Destruction. Pantera, Vulgar Display of Power, classic. Killer Dwarfs, self-titled. Anthrax, Attack of the Killer Bees. Metal Church, The Human Factor. Badlands, self-titled. Great album. Judgment Night soundtrack. Yngwie Malmsteen's Rising Force, self-titled. Skid Row, self-titled. Skid Row, Slave to the Grind. And one more, Pantera, Cowboys from Hell. I love it when cassettes would twist the artwork to fit the rectangular format. Unbelievable cassette collection. Give these some serious thought. These are all going to be displayed on a rear display cabinet. No matter what, just next time you're in the store, just ask to see them, and we'll do it up for you. Now let's get back to vinyl. I've been dropping some hints this month as to the final band, saying that they were going to be perfect timing for the spooky season, which is to say perfect timing for Halloween, which is to say perfect timing for Helloween. We have a massive selection. This is no joke. Every LP and every single and a couple live albums, everything that they ever put out in the 80s. These guys are originally from Hamburg, Germany, starting in 1983. They didn't really have any lineup changes until the 90s, so with one exception that I'll explain shortly, there's no lineup changes here. And they're still going today. They're still awesome. They're considered one of the best of like that big, heavy power thrash speed sound, and really they're considered one of the fathers of what's called power metal, which is a very symphonic, almost upbeat metal sound, but still very fast, still very powerful, just good stuff. Most of what you're going to see here is on Noise Records, which was originally a label out of Germany that specialized in heavy and thrash metal. So everything you're going to see, with the exception of some unique stuff that I'll point out, is going to be original 80s noise pressings. So no bonsai, nothing on RCA Victor that you would see in the States or Canada. So let's start off with the very first thing they ever did. EP, self-titled, 1985. This is a first German pressing, meaning that there's no barcode on the back. That's always your telltale sign there. Fun little fact, also in time for Halloween, the track Starlight starts with audio sampled from the movie Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. But we're not done with that first album. Here is a reissued picture disc version from 1986. And we're going to go to their second album, Walls of Jericho. This is their first full-length LP. This and the previous EP were the only ones to feature guitarist Kai Hansen as the vocalist, as well as guitarist. After this, he decided he wanted to focus solely on guitar, and if you know anything about Helloween, it pays off. Some of the best guitar work you'll ever hear, regardless of the style. Great, great stuff. Next, we're going to go to our first single from Helloween, Judas. This is a non-album cut and features 2 live tracks as well. Speaking of singles, picture disc reissue of Future World. Then we're going to go to a quote-unquote unofficial release. This is a live album called Bang the Head That Doesn't Bang. This is recorded in Germany in 1986 in Munich. Surprisingly decent sound. It's only a little bit muddy, but if you want to hear early live Helloween on vinyl, you'll do just fine with this. So let's get back to the legit stuff. Keeper of the Seven Keys, Part 1, their third album, 1987. This is considered one of the first true power metal albums. Very fast, very symphonic, and the first to feature brand new vocalist Michael Kiske. Next, we're going to go to picture disc version. And this includes stickers. Next, we're going to go to another unofficial live album, Ride the Sky. This concert actually starts hearing that same sample from the Halloween 3 movie, or at least the creepy jingle part. Not going to lie, not the best sound on this, but not horrible either. It is clean for what it is. But again, let's get back to the legitness. Keeper of the Seven Keys Part 2, original German pressing. This album was their biggest international success. This solidified these guys worldwide. It sounds different from the previous Keeper of the Seven Keys, but it's still, despite being the same name, still just awesome stuff. And sure enough, picture disc version, also with stickers. Now we're going to get into a slew of singles, and by a slew I mean really only two, but several versions for whatever reason. Dr. Stein, this is from Keeper of the Seven Keys Part 2. So then we have two more Dr. Steins. Deluxe weird gatefold versions with strangely unremarkable front artwork. That one's a clear vinyl version. So you got options. And speaking of Dr. Stein, you got more options. Two picture disc versions. Don't let the artwork on some of these fool you. They aren't like a silly punk rock band or anything. These guys, throughout their career, maintained a distinctly heavy metal sound. It's just power metal is basically one of the forms of metal that just doesn't take things too seriously. Let's go to another single. Arguably their biggest worldwide recognized single, I Want Out, from 1988, also from Keeper of the Seven Keys Part 2 album. A nice 12-inch picture sleeve version. Then we got a picture disc version. Another picture disc version, so hopefully there's enough for everyone there. And then finally, their only official live album from the 80s, live in the UK. This is the only one to feature Michael Kiska on vocals. He would leave the band a few years later. Very good recording. This is official, and they did put effort into it. The drums alone sound phenomenal. Very crisp and punchy. So yeah, needless to say, Heavy Metal Month here at RCP has gone pretty well. And just in case anyone wants a little more Helloween, here's a little more Helloween. We just popped these up. Nice stack of CDs. Mostly getting into their later stuff from the 90s and 2000s. But there are some of the 80s classics mixed in here. We'll just give you guys a quick look-see, just the same. CD single there. A couple special editions here that feature fold-out posters. There's Keeper of the Seven Keys Part 1. Another copy. There's Part 2. Mark of the Judas with bonus tracks. Yes, that is a Helloween album. Very interesting artwork choice. Master of the Rings with the chrome embossed jacket there. And then we've got just the jewel case and CDs for the Treasure Chest compilation. So normally you would find this in a box set version, but hey, if you want just the discs, we've got it at an affordable price for you. So yeah, there you go, folks. Thus concludes everything we have to offer this month for Heavy Metal October. But believe you me, there's still stuff from previous weeks available, and we've actually got some more vintage metal coming in the next coming weeks from other collections. And as always, this is not nearly all the metal we already have. Check out our metal section, both for vinyl and CDs and cassette tapes. We've got something for everybody. We've got original presses, we've got reissues, we've got classic bands, we've got newer bands. Something for everyone, guaranteed. And if there's something you'd like us to order in brand new, just let us know. Give us a call, send us an email, say hi in person. We're glad to help. Happy Halloween, everyone. See you soon.